Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be doing the first in a series of podcasts around SPARK The Midlands. SPARK is a preclinical accelerator program hosted at Aston University, where we just try and enable people across the region in driving clinical change where there is a huge unmet clinical need. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Pasi, who is the head of SPARK Europe. So, hey.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Wonderful. So I'm conscious this is the first one. No one knows who I am, so I'll do a little intro to myself. No one knows who you are, Pasi, but we're going to talk about you quite a bit. And then we're going to talk a bit about SPARK because it's a global program, a bit about SPARK Europe, and then a little bit about how it's been going with the first UK branch. So if I introduce myself, this is strange. So I have 7 jobs normally when I introduce myself. The key one here is I'm director of SPARK The Midlands. But I also head up the technology transfer function at Aston University, and I describe myself as my job is when an Aston academic creates something cool, I help them make real world impact from this. I get the best good out of their work. But I think similar to you, I'm slowly becoming like we have to build innovation ecosystems, and this is you, right, Pasi?
Yeah, actually, the Finnish program is a national program. We have only just the one university, which has the medical school and university hospital that is not involved with our program. So we have actually a national program, and we are working on multiple campuses, but in principle doing the same what you do.
Yeah. So what I'm interested in to start is a little bit about you. Like, how did you end up starting SPARK Finland?
Oh, that's a good question. My background is so that when I was a young guy, when I was a student, I ended up the first time to visit the United States and especially also the Stanford University. So I got involved with the Silicon Valley ecosystem, where I was keen on to understand also how to build new products and new businesses and how to finance them and so on. And since I have the background in the sports and health sciences and also the engineering and then the business side. So my background is a little bit about everything, but nothing enough. So that's what I actually ended up to work with the technology-based companies and establishing those and helping building the new instruments, how to build the high growth companies and how to finance them and so on. And so that was my story. I have never been a professional scientist, even though I have pretended to be a visiting scholar at Stanford University in the D school. But that's how I got involved. And so, and I ended up to was it 2015 when Daria Mokli-Rosen, who was the founder of the SPARK program, asked me so that if I would like to have start establishing the program to Finland. And also help Greg Garner to build the European network. So that is how we ended up to start working together.
So did you know Daria from your time at Stanford? Is this where you'd met before?
Actually, not directly. I had heard maybe 2010, actually 2008 and 2009. I heard first time about SPARK. I was in 2009 making a strategy for the new Finnish university. It's called Aalto University. It was a merger of 3 unis. And we built a strategy for commercialization of science-based discoveries and for that university. And so because of that, we did visits to key places where we could kind of, get the kind of, understanding what are the key elements to make a successful commercialization programs to universities. So that was the first time I heard about the SPARK program, which was established 2006 at Stanford. So, but it took until 2015. I had a couple of other things to do before I was able to start the program in Finland, but I got involved with the Greg Garner, who you know very, very well.
So this means we started on SPARK stuff around the same time, right? Because I began with SPARK in SPARK Berlin in 2015. This was the first European program started by Craig. So we've been going at SPARK, but with me, we're having a larger interlude for about the same amount of time.
Definitely, yes. And Craig Garner is an absolutely fantastic friend and a top-notch scientist, having established a few companies and so on. So it was a great pleasure to start working with him. And he helped us to also to establish the Finnish program. Until 2016, we started preparations. And but because I had one business which I was running and building, and so I needed to do that until I was able to start it. Officially, we started 2017 spring. So since then we have been running it up. But I started helping. I was the director for the European network already from very early on, and also advisor for the Stanford folks.
Awesome. So I want to pick up a little bit about some of your journey across, because you went to MIT at some point in the Boston ecosystem. But for the listeners, we should probably explain a bit more about SPARK. So like you said, Darius started it in Stanford back in the early 2000s. Craig took it to Berlin, I guess sort of 2014, but really started it 2015.
Yes.
And then you got the Finnish program going in 2018. Yeah. We now have a UK branch that started last year, but it's really traveled across the globe, right? So was it Taiwan that was the first international?
Yeah, they have been running, I think that this is 11th year, so that they have been the first one outside of the Stanford campus and so on. We started 2017 spring and officially, and I started collecting already the projects and supporting them a little bit, and 16. But yes, that was how it has been going, so that the Taiwanese program is a national program, and all the main universities and medical schools are in that program, and it's very, very nicely built. Also, the government is backing up a lot. Since then, Australian program started, and then also the Berlin program, and it started spreading little by little, not too aggressively, but of course, many of the people across the globe were interested about that. Some of the other unis also in the UK, they visited at Stanford annual meeting, and I remember that the Wellcome Trust people also were visiting 2016 in our global meeting. But so the mainland Europe, we started building the network with Craig. I was helping with him to establish the Norwegian program into Oslo, and the Oslo ecosystem, the cancer cluster, is the worldwide known, and I would say 80% of the potential in Norway is in the Oslo region. Then also some other German programs also started, and across Europe. So it has been very interesting journey also for us. And the strange enough situation is that many times the top management of the universities, like Tel Aviv University in Israel, so that the president of the uni was inviting us to help to establish the program. Same in Denmark, actually, the Novo Nordisk Foundation, the top management was initiator to help to establish the program to Denmark, and to have it like a multi-site program as we Finns have. Yeah. And so Craig has brought his perspectives and expertise. I have brought my expertise because I'm more the business guy and finance guy, and we had the multi-site organization and program. In Berlin, they had the kind of, the one institution, the
Charité, the big medical university.
Actually where you were participating. So it has been so rewarding to see so that how different ways you can build the SPARK program and still have it really, really effective.
I think it's been quite an interesting evolution, right? Because the earlier SPARK programs like Craig, it was basically, he'd seen it work amazingly in Stanford. When he came to the Charité, he was like, we can do so much if we have a SPARK program here. I brought it to the Midlands because I was part of the Berlin one, and I was like, I know this system works. But it seems nowadays more and more it is governmental driven, large organization driven, as the brand grows and is known to be excellent in supporting preclinical work.
Strangely enough, the governments don't seem to be kind of well aware of the potential of it. And so that in most of the countries, actually, the universities are financing because they have a lot of incentives for that. Because when they own the IP, for example, they want to see the kind of the growth of the value of it, and even the spin-outs from the program. So of course they have an incentive. And for example, in Finnish program, we had only the government supporting in the early dawns, but they haven't been for the past 5 years. They haven't been financing, or 4.5 years, they haven't been financing at all.
Mm.
Actually, we didn't want, because we wanted to have it sustainable. When I started it, I wanted to make it so that it's self-sustaining, so as quickly as possible, but maintaining the level of quality, so that from the day one, we aim to be one of the most wanted partners, not only just, of course, first in the Europe, with the most compelling and interesting projects, and also so that we are a partner for those who have ambition. So since then, we have been very successful also in that sense. And I would put it this way also, so that we have different kind of resources. So that, for example, in Berlin program, they have a really, really good funding from the Berlin government.
Health, yeah.
Yes. And in Finland, because we are self-funded by the unis and uni hospitals, so we have different kind of setup also in resources and so on.
Yeah, and I should probably shout out, because they tell me off if I don't, that SPARK The Midlands is funded by regional government and national government through the West Midlands Combined Authority.
And that's a fantastic, and I really congratulate the government also to be kind of showing the understanding, the need for this kind of activity, so that we help the scientists and students and healthcare professionals to increase the maturity of the ideas towards practical and value-creating solutions, because it doesn't happen just by nature, because most of the scientists are educated, and of course students, they are educated on the scientific path.
Yeah,
but
and I spend a lot of time explaining to people that or my pitch to people for SPARK Midlands is, you do excellent science, but there are so many standard problems that you're going to face on this route of translation, getting it into clinical use, that if we can bring you together as a network, you're all facing those challenges together, and we bring the expertise for some of those challenges. So like, I bring some commercial expertise. We've got Randia Tyndall, who brings all the regulatory support. We've got Shaina Pasquale, who does all the clinical trial support. And you aren't trained when you're doing your academic journey to understand how to raise large finance, understand how to pass all the safety profiling you have to do in the medical sector. And this is where I think certainly in the Midlands program, we add all our value. It's those extra bits that you shouldn't maybe have to worry about. We'll educate you, we'll make it so that you know which bits you need to bring external expertise in for, which bits maybe we can train you up on. And it's really useful.
And if you think about that, the reality is that in across the Europe and across the globe, the medical doctors' education, they have 0 courses on how to develop new products, medical devices or drugs from the area where they are experts. They're professionals.
Yeah.
If you have 0 education of that, so how on earth they know how to develop new solutions? So that's the dilemma. So that, and it has been, I think that many times I hear that the industry is kind of judging the scientists that they don't understand this or that, or the physicians don't understand, or nurses don't understand it. But it's unjustified kind of to blame them, because they have 0 education for that.
Yeah, and this is something that's so important to me as we grow this program and try and expand it around the UK. I talk about conversational fluency. I want clinicians who go, I have this massive unmet need. I've got an idea for a solution to solve this. I want them to understand, how do you begin? How do you start to go on this journey? And I want them to have like a friendly network of other clinicians who have done it. And there are some other wonderful schemes in the UK. We have a NHS Entrepreneurs Scheme, and we're starting to work with them, because we can bring together all of these pockets of excellence and training and go, clinician, you have an idea. Nurse, you have an idea. SPARK is a great thing for you to go. And then once you get through SPARK, you will know the beats you need to hit. You will have the chance to really get success. And I think this is one of the more exciting things that has started to come out of the Stanford program. They're starting to publish on how successful they are when they bring these mentor networks and stuff in, right? So how have you built the mentor network in Finland?
Finland is a tiny little country up north somewhere. Nobody knows where it is. And the reality is that actually the population of what is the Birmingham metro area, it's exactly the same population as Finland, 5.5 million. So it means that we have scarce resources in the top-notch experts in multiple areas of medtech, life sciences, and digital health, and so on. So we are highly dependent on not only just the best experts and professionals from Finland, but that's why we wanted to promote from the day one the establishment of the European network, because we need the talent and the professional support from much wider area. So that's why we wanted to promote and start building together with Craig the European network from the very, very fundamental elements, that the mentors has to be professionals in their very domain, and not only just the seniors that were in the industry maybe 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, but those also who are right now on the market and can help and bring the latest kind of understanding. What does it mean to kind of, how to identify where is really the hidden opportunity?
Yeah.
You might have a gem, but it's surrounded with a lot of kind of fuzzy things, and you don't know where is really the hidden gem. And so then you have to go out there, start kind of, testing your own hypotheses. It's not a scientific hypothesis. Hypothesis. It's about the where is the problem, what could be the solution, how to make it kind of be existing, and how to bring it for the end users and so on.
And this maybe gives a little insight into how people can get on the SPARK The Midlands program. So like every 6 months we do a call, we take on 10 new applicants, and we judge them on 3 things, right? We judge them on unmet clinical need, because that is the reality of, like, if there is an unmet clinical need, there is a market for it, and maybe you have something that can go for it. We judge them on, is there a real route to getting this funded? If you're developing a new drug, you might need £500 million one day. Is that possible? And the thing I would stress to so many clinicians, academics, if the unmet clinical need is there, the funding is a possibility, right? It sounds like a crazy amount of money, but people are doing it all the time. It's possible. And then, are clinical trials viable for them? There's lots of disease states where clinical trials, they're just never going to go ahead. I use migraine in pregnancy as an example often. Like, it's a massive unmet clinical need. No pregnant woman is going to take a brand new, potentially unsafe drug just for headaches. But we judge them on this, but then it starts to cover some of these things, and it starts to educate them, right? You've talked about this even in your interview process. You're hoping to begin to educate the applicants on what they need to be thinking
Exactly.
about.
That's the point. And also many times the applicants and the project managers, which are scientists and students and healthcare professionals, they feel loneliness. Because they are in front of something that they have no experience of any kind. They have no education of any kind. So the loneliness and the fear of, so that what is going to happen, I don't know what to do, or somebody, and many, let me put it this way also, so that many times these entrepreneurship programs, there's a good intention behind there, or accelerator programs. But if I come to say this, the scientist who is in a lab and saying that, Luke, I'm going to make you an entrepreneur, 98% at least, they run away immediately. Same happens with the career clinicians. So that's why what the SPARK is about, it's about the cool ideas. So that if I come to say, so that, Luke, you have really fantastic idea, would you like to see it becoming something that is really kind of, helping the patients and so on? And we have the program that can help you. And it's not about the quick rewards. Many times these accelerator programs, what the kind of, accelerate you, push you, and so on. It's about taking time, but kind of using your time wisely so that you can increase the maturity of your idea towards that practical and value-creating solution. And sometimes it might end up to a new spin-out. And some into the licensing case, some like a new products into the like a research institution that you can sell the research services for the companies, or some projects don't lead into new solution, but it helps them, the team, to understand now, so that what I have to do if I have the next new idea, and so that I can progress with that. And what the SPARK has done if you think about that it's a 2-year program, sometimes when you have a drug and a vaccine, so we give them a little bit more extra time.
Mm-hmm.
But if we are what we have evidence, so that in 2 years time frame we can squeeze the typical workload of 5 years into 2 years. Because of that, we have these experts, the professionals helping that. We have a systematic process how to review the things, and then we expose the projects in the key markets and make them to build their own understanding what is relevant and essential. And that is where is really the biggest value is that they start doing it professionally. They have the support system, and then also they build their own understanding, and it helps also in their career development, so that if you are not going to be a professional scientist, so then you have new tool set also what you can use in your future.
I completely agree. Right, it's something that we are trying really hard to do, which is no one is coming to us with us going, you have to be an entrepreneur now. We sit them down and we go, we're going to treat you like you were already in a company, but you're in the R&D part of this company to begin. So we're going to make sure you're working to a certain standard. The second meeting we have with all our groups, we go, we're going to build you out your massive project plan. And it's okay if this project plan is 12 years long to get a drug on the market. That's how long it takes. But we need you to be thinking about the challenges for the next 12 years and understanding like, this is going to be a point I need external expertise, because we can start to bring in mentors for you now who worry about large scale manufacturing of a vaccine. Yeah. Like, it's not a problem for you. You just need this awareness. Yeah. And then like, what is an entrepreneur? It's someone who has an awareness of all of these things, someone who can raise the capital, and maybe a year in, like that we've gently moved them into this place. And this is the approach that we try and take.
And sometimes it's also good to understand so that the money, if the projects are driven with the money incentive, so that, okay, our program is giving you money. Mm-hmm. SPARK is not about the giving a lot of money. It's about giving the path to take it further. And as we talk in Finland all the time, so that we want to make the projects fundable, and then maybe in the future the spin-outs fundable. So it's about making building that kind of path, so that the project team starts understanding, so that it's our duty to work so that it becomes fundable.
Yeah,
it's not about kind of set this expectation so that the government is putting the money into my project, or kind of the investors are coming to us and put the money in. No, it's about my job. It's my duty. It's my responsibility. There's no office of dumping your idea to somewhere at the university.
Yeah,
they are dumped in there.
I think so. SPARK The Midlands, we give people 25k, right?
Yeah.
£25,000.
Yeah.
But that is such a small amount of money for what they need to do, that we really see that as like a carrot. The reality of what they're getting is incredible support for a very long period of time. That's going to get them in a much better place. And then maybe as we start to finish up a little bit, like, one of the great things about SPARK is because it's been around so long, I find it really kite marks educated investors to these programs. Like, I talk to a lot of US investors and they go, this group is going through SPARK. We know at the end they are going to be able to talk to us in a way that they want to be talked to. And this is so valuable. So we're enabling people to access these massive pots of capital rather than just putting it on a plate for them.
That's spot on. And I think that when I first time heard that you are going to establish the program here in Birmingham, and I knew that you had been in Berlin program, and I said that, wow, that's going to be really, really, really cool thing. And not just because of you have been already in the SPARK program, but the potential what is in the Birmingham region. Actually, I went to take a look on, so that what is the kind of, how the universities are, what are the kind of, the focal points, what is the quality of that, or how is I found out so that it's very large university hospital in here. And then what I saw is that is a optimal place to have the SPARK program, so that if you establish it in here, I see a really, really big potential in there.
And I could wax lyrical for ages about this, right? Like, there are so many opportunities for Birmingham. We have an incredibly diverse patient population. So you talk about Finland, and it being the same sort of demographic size. But the advantages we have here are our patient population is representative of a lot of countries around the world, whereas there's a homogeneity.
We are almost like a kind of family people, the whole nation. But also that what has been very interesting also that now we have, for example, the Swiss universities in the program and hopefully growing with very, very good ones. Also in Germany, we have top-notch institutions. We have all the best unis in Denmark. We have the best uni and the largest uni in Norway, and all the main unis in hospitals in Finland and the Tel Aviv University. And so what is very interesting, so that our European community, of course, the global community, but especially already the European community, it's really top-notch institutions, and so that we help each other. We come together, we organize joint events. Hopefully also in here, in near future, we could have a showcase type of event, maybe events in the future also, so that we can bring the visibility on the European SPARK projects and alumni, and also so to raise the awareness, so that how cool stuff is happening in these unis and uni hospitals, which mostly we didn't know.
Yeah.
And so that this Birmingham, the Midlands program and the UK program is absolutely fantastic thing for the European network. So
maybe as a final question, if you're watching this and you are one of these world leading institutions across Europe and you want to get involved, maybe start a SPARK program, how do you go about this?
It's very simple. First, you can talk, for example, contact Luke or me or Morten in Norway or Tanya in Berlin and so on, so that those who are in the SPARK program already, so that we can start having a discussion and tell about our own experiences, which are real, and so that they're getting involved with us. It's already very simple. And if you go and check, for example, our websites, for example, SPARK Finland, you can get a quite good example of so that how we have built it and so on. But the principles are the same across the world. So SPARK Stanford, of course, Stanford is very unique area. And so we needed to, for example, in Finland, to build a different setup a little bit, because we don't have that venture capital kind of concentration. We are not living in the world's by far the biggest market. We don't breathe in and sweat it every day. So, and we don't have the serial entrepreneurs, what they have in there. So we needed to build a little bit our own twist. But make a contact with Luke, me, Tanya, Morten, and so on, and that opens the door for starting to build the path.
Wonderful. All right. On that note, I think we're finished. Thank you so much for your time, Pasi.
Thanks for having me.
And I'll see everyone at the next SPARK podcast.